Writing YouTube titles is pivotal for success on YouTube. But how do you write the right titles? Today, we're going to answer that question with YouTube optimization expert Tom Martin. So stay tuned. It's the Business of Video podcast.
You're listening to the Business of Video podcast, where the world's top YouTubers and marketers talk about what's working with online video. This podcast is recorded live on Facebook every week, and you can join us when you visit businessofvideopodcast.com. Now your host, Owen Video.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the show. It's the Business of Video podcast. I'm your host, Owen Video, small business video marketing consultant, and I'm glad that you're here today to join us on the best show on the internet. I'm joined today by my fantastic producer, Melissa Rotunno. Nick Nimmin is on vacation. He's headed out to the States to join us today, or to join us in 2 weeks for Vid Summit, which is Daryl Eves and Sean Doris. They put on a video marketing conference every single year in LA. It's where all the top video makers and marketers get together, show each other their work, and it's really a great conference. So if you're in LA, Orange County, or San Diego, and you want to go hang out with the top names in YouTube and YouTube marketing, come on down. You're going to have a great time. I want to introduce all of you to my fantastic producer, Melissa Rotunno, who is in Nick Nimmin's stead today. Melissa is an editor. She has 14 years in the news business, and she drove all the way out here from Maine just to meet me in a coffee shop one time. Mo, how are you?
It's good. And I didn't come that far just to meet you. I came from Rhode Island, so we get a little bit lower south.
Did I say Maine again?
You said Maine.
Oh, I have a hard time. I have a hard time getting that, but I'm going to get the Rhode Island. No, of course, we knew each other before you came down, but sort of tell everybody that story. How did you sort of, kind of the 30-second version of coming out to California?
Pretty much I just decided I didn't want to work in a 3x4 cubicle little anymore with no windows. So I'm like, I'm going to move to the sunniest place on earth. That's San Diego.
But you, unfortunately, you haven't been to the beach yet, though, right? Like you haven't yet.
No, I don't go to the beach at all. Come on.
Like every picture that I see on your Instagram, you're at the beach again. And I've grown up here my whole life, so the beach is not that exciting for me. But you're actually the producer of our show. You actually do switching, and tell everybody a little bit about what you do for the show.
Well, pretty much I'm the behind the scenes. So whenever you're seeing everyone go back and forth, all the little lower thirds popping up and posting people's comments and trying to share and having 50 billion things go on at once. So it's kind of a nice little break and to be on this side now where I just sit here and talk.
Oh, yeah, because that's all. She's like, that's all you do. Hey, big shout out to our fans watching live on Facebook. I can't see everybody today because my system's a little different, but I want to say what's up to Tim Longwell and Jason Rodriguez. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in live, and we love to have you here. Hey, if you want to catch the show live, if you're watching us on the replay, or maybe you're watching this on YouTube or iTunes, go to the businessofvideopodcast.com and sign up to the chat bot. When you do that, you'll get an alert each time we go live on Wednesday mornings. And I believe we send you an invite to our Monday night live tutorials as well. So on Tuesday nights, I do a Monday night tutorial. So I hope you guys will join us for that. Hey, Melissa, did you hear the news? So if you guys haven't heard this yet, this is big news. Vimeo acquires Livestream and launches its own live video product. This is fantastic, and I'm going to read you just a little blurb directly from the article itself. After abandoning its plans to launch a video on-demand business earlier this year, IAC-owned streaming video site Vimeo announced today that it's acquiring the live video streaming platform Livestream and launching its own live streaming product Vimeo Live. The move to integrate live streams technology into Vimeo will allow video creators to capture, edit, stream, and archive their live events, the company says, in addition to hosting, distributing, and generating revenue from their videos. So that is really exciting to hear about this. Melissa, tell what's Vimeo all about, generally speaking?
Well, I always saw it as it was more for portfolio work. Like everyone kept saying, if you want it to look nice and cleaner on your websites and all that stuff, use Vimeo over YouTube. And so I kind of was using it just to store and put my pieces that I want to share. And then it just became for the amount of space and then the subscription, it just wasn't really worth it. And YouTube gives you pretty much a limited amount of space. And so I just kind of never really got into Vimeo, even though it's got like the cleaner look, supposedly, as they say.
Yeah, I've always viewed Vimeo as sort of like a portfolio site. You know, this is sort of where filmmakers go. And so it's not necessarily like this search engine heavy site. In fact, we've got a client that we just moved them on to Vimeo for hosting their internal videos. See, they're hosting a lot. They're doing a lot of internal and PR type videos that aren't really designed for search traffic or for the customer traffic, and they keep dumping those onto YouTube. And so we're like, hey, we don't want to do that on YouTube. We want to do this on Vimeo. This is more of a marquee place to deliver your video the right way to the right people. And you know, a lot of filmmakers use Vimeo. Do you have a paid account with them for storage or anything like that? Like it?
No, I never got beyond that because I mean, a lot of my pieces that I put on were from like local news, but they were like a 2-minute packages, so they're pretty big files. So
yeah. Jason Rodriguez is saying a new, fresher, hipper YouTube. And is commenting lively in the comment section. Yeah, you know, livestream.com, on the other hand, the company they've acquired is no small puppy. I've worked with Livestream before. I mean, these guys, you know, this is professional live stream gear. I'm going to actually go to their website right now. And I'm not used to really like surfing on the web while I'm broadcasting. I try something new.
That's my job.
Yeah, I know, right? That's
my job.
Livestream.com, you know, has just very powerful equipment that they use. They have a whole back-end program that you can log into and stream directly from your desktop and stream directly from your phone. I mean, these guys were one of the first people to really do live stream well. So the fact that this mature, sort of sophisticated company has acquired this other mature, sophisticated company, I think is really exciting. And it will be cool to see how that develops. So
yeah, no, definitely. It felt like Vimeo had a little stall there for a little bit. Like it was like coming up and better than YouTube and blah, 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 blah. And then nothing.
And all of a sudden we haven't heard from them in a while. So good job, Vimeo and Livestream. And we wish you guys well on this merger. That's the news. Hey, if you're just joining us, you're listening to the Business of Video podcast live on Facebook, and it's time for my favorite, absolute favorite section of the show today, and that is our share sponsor. Hey, if you're new to the show, okay, a share sponsor, or what we're calling a shareifier, is each week we select a member of our audience who shared this show on Facebook or Twitter. Today, we want to give a huge shout out to Albert Fuller. Take it away, Albert Fuller.
Hey guys, my name is Albert Fuller, and I host a comedy show on YouTube called Coffee Time, which you can find by simply typing in my name, Albert Fuller, into the search bar. And I'm just here to tell you guys how much I really do love the business of video podcasting, which is why I'm super excited to be this week's share sponsor. So Owen, keep doing your thing. Nick, I love everything you've taught me, and I can't wait to see what's to come. Peace, guys.
Albert Fuller, we love you too, and thank you for sharing this video on your timeline last week. Hey guys, if you want to be featured on our show live through video, then please share this video on your timeline right now. Our fantastic producer, Melissa Media, will pick 1 or 2 or 3 lucky sharifiers to do a shout out on next week's show. So we hope you guys enjoy that. We want to say thank you. That's our way of saying, thank you for being an amazing part of this show. I think Melissa and I both have always wanted to make this show about the fans and about the audience listening. So this is our way of making you guys a part of the show. And so we hope that you guys enjoy that. Right, Melissa?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm having so much fun doing this show.
Good. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that I'm not like,
I have to wake up Wednesday and do the show. Come on.
Oh my! Again. But the show's doing well too. We get a lively group of listeners. We've got, the show closes around 1,000 views a week. And we want to grow. Some shows do a lot more than that. Daryl Eves' show went through the roof, and so it's
unbelievable.
Nice. We'd love to know, guys, what topics do you want to know about? What guests do you want to hear on the show? What are questions you want us to really dig into and answer? Let us know in the comment section or reach us on Facebook. Just message the show, message me or Melissa privately. Anyway, it's unofficial, but we'd love to know. Jason Rodriguez is saying, done. Airpie buddy. Jason Rodriguez has got a channel. He's doing some fun stuff as well. Hey, I am excited to dig into the show today. So let's get started. I hit that button a tad too early.
It's good. You need a little transition as you're finishing. That way it kind of fades right on in live.
I've got to get some new audio pieces that do, they fade in. So I can talk over for a little bit. But hey, this week we have a really exciting guest. Tom Martin is a good friend of mine. He's also a big player in the YouTube marketing space. Tom is the type of guy where when you go to a conference or when you go out, people know who Tom Martin is. He is a YouTube optimization specialist, having worked on major channels like the BBC. Tom also has a channel called FAQTube, where he answers your YouTube questions as well as giving his ideas, tips, and insights and suggestions for best practices so that you can achieve better YouTube results, whatever the goal may be. Whether you want to know how to start a YouTube channel or take your channel to the next level, Tom is here to help. Now, today's show is really fantastic, guys, because Tom and I pre-recorded this interview earlier this week. And we're playing it for you live because Tom is over in the UK. So we don't really get to hear UK voices all that often on the show because of the time zone. So we pre-recorded this. We're going to stream it live. It's the first time we've ever done a technological stream like this before in the past. So we hope you guys will enjoy. We're going to be live in the comment section with Tom Martin. So be sure to ask your questions so that we can type them up, put them on screen, and jump in as we can. So without further ado, guys, I'd like to introduce you to Tom Martin. Tom, great to have you on the show.
Absolute pleasure to be speaking to you today, Owen.
So tell me in a little bit more detail, what is a YouTube optimization specialist?
Well, originally, I suppose that wasn't my title or what people considered me to be. I was just a channel manager running other people's YouTube channels. That's what I've been doing for the last over 5 years now. And I started really with almost zero experience, kind of thrown in at the deep end, kind of scratched around to find what educational material I could, I'm sure Daryl Eves and people like yourselves and Jeremy Best and Tim Schmoy, they were around, but they probably weren't as easy to discover as they were today. So kind of, to a large degree, self-taught. Obviously got some training from YouTube himself. I've been certified for a number of years as an audience growth expert. But really, I'd say I became a specialist in optimization through just testing. I've been running multiple channels for a number of companies for a number of years. So over the years, I've uploaded literally, thousands of videos, 20, 30 videos a week. And it's by testing and tweaking and trying new things, just by trial and error, that I've found out, what works and equally what doesn't work, which is also, really important to know as well.
So I hope that we can dig into that, some of those things on the show today. Let's start right there. What are some of the things that don't work for YouTube optimization?
Things that don't work, that's a very interesting question. So the number one thing that I would say that doesn't work, and I always recommend against it, is trying to be misleading with your metadata. So whether that's putting in your tags the names of popular YouTube channels in the hope that you'll get surfaced for those keywords.
Right.
Similarly, putting in a misleading thumbnail, to try and pretend that you're going to have something in the video that you clearly can't deliver on. And I say this, for a number of reasons, is to always keep on YouTube's good side, because one, you're going to get flagged. Having a misleading or an inappropriate thumbnail is still one of the few ways that you can actually get flagged by a viewer to YouTube and get in trouble. But more importantly than that is, if someone comes to your video and they've been brought there by something that's misleading, say, you've put, say if I put Owen video in my tags and people come to that video hoping to see you, you're much better looking and everything like that, and then they see my face, they're going to be really disappointed. They're going to click away really fast. That's going to hurt your audience retention rates and your minutes watched. And then your video and your channel are going to be, punished and kind of demoted by YouTube's algorithm. And then in the long term, you're actually going to hurt yourself by trying to be misleading. So I'd say that's absolutely the one thing that you should never ever do.
Fantastic. Now, when you talk about some of these general tactics that do work, what are some of the YouTube optimization tactics that work? They're high percentage. You can't, promote a video without them. Tom Martin, your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think that really there's no secret sauce. If you read some of the teachings that I promote, my book or whatever, then what I teach is very kind of fundamental, foundational. Get everything right. Do the basics right. So your titles, tags, descriptions. Make sure they're keyword rich. But one thing that I think is overlooked and is really important is consistency. And I don't mean consistency of the type of videos that you're creating. I'm talking about consistency in terms of your video's metadata. So I would always advocate to have kind of branding at the end of your titles. So for example, at the end of all of my videos, I have the name of my channel. In my tags, I use upload defaults, so that all of the first 6 or 7 tags in every single video that I create are all the same. In my description, I have a little bit of a blurb at the very bottom, which is kind of a mini kind of bio about me and the channel. So what I'm trying to do there is engineer a relationship between all of my videos on YouTube. So
interesting.
If someone watches one of my videos and gets quite far, then that shows YouTube that they're interested, and then YouTube's going to look for something similar. And I'm basically trying to not trick YouTube, but help them discover the rest of my catalog by being consistent through that metadata.
Now that's really interesting. That's really interesting because that's sort of the Gary V model, you know what I mean? Where every title is the same minus maybe 4 words, right? That he sort of changed for that specific episode. Are you recommending something like that, or are you recommending something a little less aggressive, like episode 1 or episode 2 at the end of your title? What are your thoughts, Tom Martin?
Well, I do know Gary V, but I'm not so aware of his exact techniques. But as I say, for every single channel that I run or that I work with, I would always have very consistent titles. So that would include having the channel name at the end. And if it was episodic, I would have that structure in there too. Also, if you have regular strands, so Gary might have, Ask Gary V in, the title consistently. So he might have like the hook, as I like to call it, at the start of the title. So that might be, how to hustle more. And then, Ask Gary V episode 1, and then it might be the name of his channel, whether that's his name, I'm not sure. But yeah, very kind of regimented, structured, almost, I like to get to the point where you could almost kind of use a tool or a template or just get someone to cut and paste, because it's so consistent. You almost have like, I'm very, 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 I speak very highly of systematizing everything. So nothing's left to chance. It's so consistent. It's so regular. You can set by your watch by, when's the release going to come out? How's it going to be titled? How is it going to be described? What are the tags going to be like? So very, very kind of regimented.
I love that. And I think it's so important, especially in such a hyper-competitive YouTube marketplace now, where there's 400 minutes of video uploaded every hour or something like that. I mean, really incredible stats for how much video is on YouTube.
Yeah, and having that consistency, if you think there's so much competition, having that consistency means that you're going to get more views from search and, more importantly, from suggested video. And really, suggested video is the best source of traffic long term. It's sustainable, and if you get found by somebody, you're going to keep them there. You're going to keep that session going. You're going to grow that relationship between that person, whether you're just trying to get them to watch more videos, or whether you're trying to increase your authority to try and get them to become a customer, or get them over to your email list or to your website. And really, that consistency is what is going to get you more suggested views. And that's really what I always aim to improve on any channel that I really kind of go in and try to help with.
So, just to dig in on this topic a little bit more, choosing your titles and having sort of like, maybe your channel name in your title you had mentioned, but the YouTube title input field only gives you 100 characters to work with. If you've got a long title, your channel name might not fit. Do you use hashtags at all? Have you seen that be successful? What do you do in the case of maybe an extra long channel name that won't fit at the end of every title? How would you work around that to still create this connection that YouTube can recognize?
Hashtags I've never really used extensively or seen used to to a great effect. So hashtags I'm not too worried about. It can sometimes be actually a nice stylistic choice. So it just looks cool if you're trying to catch someone's eye. You've got the hashtag, you've got the hash symbol, so it actually looks a bit different and stands out to the eye. But if you've got a really long channel name, then what you could do is have like an abbreviated version of that. And as long as you're consistent, it doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter what it is, but it doesn't matter too much. So if you wanted to, instead of using, the video of business or simple business video, you might just want to use Owen video at the end of every video. Short, it's crisp. But the way that I always describe it is that for a YouTube title, the start of the video, the start of the title is for humans, and the end is really for the machine. So it's for the algorithm to index, to see that consistency, because a lot of times the end of the title is going to be cut off on a lot of devices. You're not going to see it on mobile, even on desktop. You're not going to see it very often in a lot of settings. So really, what you want to focus on is getting the sexy part really front loaded, and that's the same for any keywords that you're trying to rank for, is to get them really early on in the title. So that's not going to be cut off by any kind of truncation when it's shown on a different device.
So you bring up a great point. I want to dig into that a little bit more, because I was sort of raised in the YouTube school of, obviously keywords. There's keywords in everything. Okay. So we're just going to, if you guys are listening to this right now, there's keywords in everything. But title structure has always been something that used to be a great strength for me. I was making all these how to this and how to that. This stuff was ranking off the shelf. It was ranking before I even published it. Now it's much harder. And we're hearing advice come from big players that are saying things like, write titles that are more like an email subject line. Write titles that are more like a Craigslist title. What does that mean to you, Tom Martin? And how should we be structuring our titles to compete in a modern YouTube atmosphere?
Well, my answer to that is that they don't need to be mutually exclusive. They don't need to be boring just because they're well structured, and they don't need to be loosely structured just because they're a bit more sexy. So I would say, some subjects, you can't, if it's how to make a chocolate brownie, it's how to make a chocolate brownie. That's what people are searching for. That's what people want. You don't need to say, you won't believe this chocolate brownie recipe. It's not necessary.
Okay.
What we're trying to
So change the title of my chocolate brownie video. Check.
I'm sure they get millions of views anyway. So.
You're very kind to me. I like it when the guests are this nice to me. I really do.
I try. But really, yeah. So I'm totally with you. Like, title needs to be, more than anything, needs to be shareable. That doesn't mean clickbait. That doesn't mean misleading. It means, is someone going to copy and paste it and share it on Facebook? Are they going to, click on the share button and send it to a friend on WhatsApp?
Mm-hmm.
That's really what's important, because apart from those suggested views, you're only really going to make an impact if people are sharing your videos organically, because as we've said, there's so much competition out there, and YouTube are not going to show every video in a subscription feed, and they simply can't promote everyone out there. So yeah, I would go so far as to say title is so important. Really, if you can't think of a good title for your video before you've made it, don't make the video.
Interesting.
If you can't sum up the elevator pitch, or the crux of the video in a short, sharp, shareable title, then how do you expect people to find it? How do you expect people to share it? If you can't sum it up, probably the concept of the video isn't dialed down enough to where it needs to be. So yeah, absolutely. If you can't think of a good title for the video, don't make the video.
Do you have any suggestions for how to make your title more shareable? And I'm not talking about the content. I'm not talking about making content that's more shareable. What type of systems do you implement to sort of filter out a working title and have it turn into a more shareable title, if you will?
Yeah, so there's a number of things you can do. So first of all, I would take out all the kind of filler words, stopper words, and with, when, the kind of stuff that you can take out and search engines don't really care about anyway. It just makes it shorter, punchier, more impactful. Another thing you can do is to use kind of remarkable words, but this one you kind of have to be a little bit more careful with. Don't use it on every video. So you might say like epic Photoshop tutorial.
Right.
But if you've actually got something that is pretty epic, like an epic skating fail, then that's something that you would use sparingly. But of course, if you put epic or unbelievable or ouch or an exclamation mark after every title that you make, people are just going to become numb to it, and they're just going to say, you know what, this guy kind of oversells every video that he makes.
Yeah. This is what he does.
Yeah. So if you're going to do that every video, it's not going to work. So that's one that you can use sparingly. With great power comes great responsibility. So
yeah, good.
Don't abuse that. Then there's little things you can do, like verses. If you put a verses in a title, people go mad about that. People love lists. Top 5 this, top 10 that, 5 ways to how to. I know you say they're not sexy, but people love that stuff. People eat up how-to videos. There's a reason that they get made. There's a reason that they get searched for.
Yeah.
And there's a reason that YouTube tell you to make how-to videos. And especially if you're getting started off, it's evergreen, you know?
Yeah.
So you can have sexy of the moment videos, but then you've also got those evergreen videos that are going to get long tail views for years and years and years and years to come.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the how-to is reliable. How-to and tips is just old, reliable. You know this stuff works. For my own channel, I wonder, like, am my clients going into that overselling, because so much of my library is how to do this and how to do that. And then you sort of wonder, is this content that I'm going into, is it really how to? You know, because it's not necessarily nuts and bolts, you know, like where's the line between like how to change a tire, and you get a guy talking about how to change a tire, versus how to change a tire and you get a guy who's actually down there changing the tire. You know, you kind of, as a creator, you wonder, well, what is this video really called? Is it how to change a tire, or is it what is the process for changing a tire, or what are the 5 steps to changing a tire? Based on what the content is. You know, really helpful advice there, Tom, on making your videos more shareable. Another question we have for you, Tom Martin, you're a YouTube expert, you're an optimization expert. You've not only had clients, you've had really big clients like the BBC. Tell us, what are some of the optimization tactics that you swear by? If you're going to launch a brand new video, what's the optimization checklist to make sure that video has everything it needs to get the millions of views?
Yeah, so first of all, I'd say, is it, like we've already discussed, is it something that people actually want? People actually don't want it, don't make it. Is the content something that people are likely to share? Is it got something remarkable about it? Is it crazy? Is it so useful that people are going to share it? You know, the reason that people share things is because they want to look smart, they want to look funny, or they want to be first. But always think about that. You know, if you share, like, if you've got like a movie trailer, people want to share it because they were the first people to see it.
Yep.
People want to share kind of interesting articles because they want to look smart.
Mm-hmm.
People share funny videos because they want to be seen as funny. So always bear that in mind. Why would people share this video? But then when you talk about nuts and bolts, I'd say a really shareable title, and something that works together with the thumbnail, so they tell the same story. You know, what you don't want is, let's go back to your tire changing example. So you've got how to change a tire, you've got a thumbnail of a guy, car jacked up, he's changing the tire. What we don't need now is a long 30-second intro where he says, hey guys, today I'm going to show you how to change a tire. When you break down, you're going to need to change a tire. So this is what I'm going to take you through, all the steps, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Because what you've already done with your title and your thumbnail is that you've already given that introduction. You've given that context. The person has already made the choice to take what you're giving based on that thumbnail and that title. So you can strip out that intro and get straight to the meat and potatoes of the video, as I like to say. Then once you've done that, you then want a description that is keyword rich, short and succinct. And then you want tags that are hyper relevant, again, keyword rich. And then what you want to do really is make sure that those keywords appear in the title, description, tags, and hopefully in your script as well at some point in the video. And if you haven't got the resources, I would very much recommend transcribing the videos, or pardon me, at least going in and fixing the auto translation that Google provides, because sometimes that can, if you've got a strange accent like mine, it can come up with some strange translation.
Yeah, it depends on where you are. The stranger the accent seems stranger based on where you learn to talk. We're talking about all of these optimization tactics. Can these be hacked? Can the captions be hacked and you put in keywords where none actually exist in the video?
Physically and technically, very much so. But it all goes back to my kind of number one advice: what not to do is to try and mislead your audience, because short term, yeah, you might get a video that ranks for a certain keyword, but people are going to be disappointed. They're going to click off. You're going to hurt your audience retention rates. So in the long term, you're hurting yourself. So I would say we're not looking for hacks. We're not looking for shortcuts. We're looking for tactics and systems that are going to allow us to give our videos the best possible chance of being looked upon favorably by YouTube's algorithm. So we're pushing the boundaries, we're getting close to them, but we're never crossing that line into being kind of black hat.
Good, because I like that. Black hat is, the black hat as a term refers to sort of like off the books SEO, right? Things that you're not supposed to do, but how are they going to catch you? That sort of stuff. Let me tell you, the algorithm always finds you. And that's what Panda was, right? And that's what Penguin was, these YouTube algorithm updates. They were designed to stop the hackers or the black hat stuff. So, even if you're doing black hat and you're kind of like getting away with it, hey, this video did great, this video did great. It's short-lived. It's not real. Would you agree, Tom Martin?
Definitely. I think I spoke to this with a few people, including your good friend Jeremy Vest.
Oh yeah.
One day, I'm almost certain there's going to be a Panda equivalent for YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just going to wash away people that are just doing the most shady stuff. And you could say, well, this channel over here, channel X. A lot of the kids channels do it. The big kids channels are really, really keyword stuffing. You see in the titles, it'll be stuff like surprise egg, Spider-Man, Elsa. Pop Troll.
Oh yeah, I see that stuff all the time.
And there's no way that all of that's in the video, and the descriptions are the same. The description is almost like a giant tag cloud of 1,000 different keywords that they're trying to rank for. And unfortunately, sometimes that is going to work. Especially because once the kids come and watch, they seem to stay for a long time. But you have to sleep at night, and also you have to be prepared to kind of wake up in the morning and your channel just disappeared. So again, I'd say,
and we've seen that. We have seen whole channels disappear. I'll tell you, my good friend over at Animal Facts, he's running a good, clean channel over there. Family friendly, but at some point broke the rules or triggered an alert. It's very possible somebody reported him for something. He called Chihuahuas the best dogs in the world. Somebody gets mad and they report him. But for whatever reason, his channel was gone overnight. And he wrote me, he's a good friend. He was just like, what do I do? What do I do? So if you're out there watching, listening, you're thinking, oh, well, that'll never happen to me. These are real things that we are seeing happen. And when your videos are gone, like, who are you going to complain to?
Well, yeah, unless you're lucky enough to have like a partner manager at YouTube, which the vast majority of creators won't have. And what I think you really raise as an amazing point is not even having your channel shut down, but then you've got demonetization.
Yeah.
And you've just got, falling CPMs in terms of just falling ad revenue for creators.
Yes.
Increased competition. Trends can change. So no doubt it's something that you preach all the time, is to diversify your business and your income streams. I've earned a living from YouTube in one way or another for the last 5 years. And I'll probably see that going on in the future. But, I collect people's email addresses. I'm trying to make money off of YouTube and use it as part of a business, not as an entire business.
We got a diversified model. That's fantastic. Great points, Tom Martin. And if you're just joining us, you're watching the Business of Video podcast. We're talking with Tom Martin about YouTube optimization. Really great stuff, Tom. We just asked you about, sort of like your checklist. What are the things that need to be done when launching a brand new video? what about you've got a video and for some reason it's not doing what you thought it was going to do? You thought it would do well. You thought it was a video about XYZ. Turns out it's a video about ABC. How do you go about re-optimizing a video? Maybe changing the title a little bit. You think, oh, maybe this title would be better. What are some of the checklists that we can use for re-optimizing a video and hopefully bringing new life into that video?
Yeah, exactly that. So you're re-evaluating it with fresh eyes, but the beauty is now that you've got data to back up any decision that you're trying to make. So what you can do, you can go into analytics of that video and see where's the drop off point. What are people getting upset about? Why are they leaving? Have you maybe made a promise that you can't deliver on just because you've titled your video slightly incorrectly? Also, is there a spike at another point in the video where people are skipping and then going to a certain point? I worked on quite a big channel, and we had a video that was getting a decent amount of traffic, but I was going through the entire channel and just kind of was onto this video next to optimize. And looking at the analytics, I saw that there was a massive spike. It was about an 8-minute video, and the spike came at about 7 minutes in. So people were linking to this point in the video. So obviously that was the hook of the video. That is what people wanted to see.
Right.
So then I changed the title to only highlight that incident in the video, and I changed the thumbnail to highlight that incident. So the same video, but now we're selling it on an entirely different story. We're selling a totally different product, even though the content is the same. And overnight, you can see on the analytics where it just took off. It was probably doing about 25,000 views a day. All of a sudden, it's doing hundreds of thousands a day.
Wow!
It's the same video. But also the beauty of going back and cleaning up old videos, especially if in the early days you maybe weren't following the kind of best practices that you do on your new videos, is that you can sometimes see that it has a cumulative effect. Because when we put in our tags and the descriptions consistently on new videos, what we're doing is we're building connections between the videos. But those old videos are not set up the same. So by going back and changing old videos to all kind of be consistent with the new videos, there's a much kind of bigger footprint that's all consistent and much more likely to start, sharing.
So that goes back to adding the channel name to the end of the video or your catchphrase, right? Because that's what I hear you saying is it's not necessarily your channel name. No. It's your catchphrase. It's a hashtag. It's something that's the same, like suffix, right? You got a prefix at the beginning, you got a suffix at the end.
Yes, I like to say like you brand your title.
Yeah,
that doesn't like a brand like Pepsi or Cola, as in like your stamp. What is your
like burning a cow?
Yeah,
that kind of branding.
It's your unique identifier.
Yeah. See, and that's really interesting because I see a lot of potential for using a hashtag to do that. And say like Roberto Blake does this. He does hashtag creative thoughts. And what that does is it makes his videos searchable. All of his, and these are a specific style of video that he does, so it makes his creative thoughts videos searchable. When you click on that hashtag, you'll see all those videos. But in the suggested section, you'll also see a lot of his creative thoughts video because, outside of it being a hashtag, it's in every single video. So if you were to add by Tom Martin or like a boss, to the end of your videos, you're creating a connection between them. Correct? That's what you're saying, Tom Martin?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And, I always think that your job as a channel manager is not to get views on that one video. Your job is to make the connection between your whole entire catalog of videos so that they can go on and kind of do the hard work for you while you sleep. It's organic, it's sustainable, it's long-term. It's so you're not relying on, a big hit every now and then. You're just sustainable growth based on search and suggested videos. And there's always going to be outliers to that. But really, whenever I come into either take over a channel or launch a channel, I'm always just looking for that slow growth, consistency, and then you're going to get a hit anyway. So you don't have to go and try and make every single video a hit.
You know, Tom, I wish I would have heard you say that to me like 2 years ago, let me tell you, because that's what I've struggled with, is trying. In the very beginning, I only made a few videos at a time. So every video I made was a hit, essentially. But then I started getting into regular content production, and you're still driven by this every video needs to be a hit mentality. And when it's not, it really breaks you down. So I want to repeat what you just said, and I want to encourage any creators, any business owners, entrepreneurs that are creating videos now, and let this really sink in. Your job is to make connections between your videos. Your job is not to make every video a hit. You're building up a library here. So you'll get some hits out of that. Is that what you're saying, Tom Martin?
Absolutely. And they're not necessarily all going to be a hit when you release either.
Yeah.
You know, if it's well optimized, it doesn't take anything for you. You know, I've got a habit every morning, start my working day. I'm, running maybe 10 channels at the moment. I'll just flick through each channel, just looking at the small stats that are in that dashboard. And every now and then you just see a spike that comes out of nowhere. And it could be a video that you uploaded 3 years ago. Either it's hit
interesting
page, it's been connected to another big video that's gone viral, which is often the case if you've got good metadata, or it's hit, it's been put on Reddit and it's gone crazy, or it's been put on Facebook and gone crazy. But if you try to chase a hit every time, you're going to drive yourself crazy.
I feel free. I feel like I just found Jesus. I'm like liberated from, from having to chase down a hit all the time. So that's great. That's great advice, Tom Martin, master optimizer. Let me ask you this. How many tags? Does it matter how many tags, or only the quality of the tags? Should I be shooting for, 500 characters every time, or as close to that as possible? Or do I really just want to have good, solid 5 or 6 good, solid tags?
Yeah, you definitely don't want to aim. If you use the 500, that's fine. Don't aim to do it for the sake of it.
Okay.
The way that I always, the most simplest of analogy that I can give is almost like coffee. If you're making coffee, you don't want to make it so strong that no one wants to drink it, and you don't want to dilute it so much that no one wants to drink it. You just want to get it perfect. So I always suggest that any channel have their upload defaults set. Yeah. So every single video they've got 4, 5, 6 tags that are the same for every single video that they upload.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting.
And then after that, you can have the kind of more video specific ones. And actually this year I've got even more consistent. So I've kind of implemented a system. I don't even know what to call it, but I'm kind of thinking kind of like category tags. So I'll have a system where every video has 5 or 6 upload defaults. And then depending on the subject or the strand or the type of video you've got. So like you said with Roberto Blake's Creative Thoughts, maybe if that was me, I would have a set of 4 or 5 tags that went on every single Creative Thoughts video, but not every single video on the channel.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the defaults, you've got your kind of category defaults, and then you've got the video specific ones that are hyper relevant. So you only want tags that are really, really relevant to that video, and not ones that you put in just because you think, oh, lots of people are searching for Trump, so I'm going to stick Trump in there.
Thank you for doing it on my show. Thank you for doing that on my show.
The way that I always judge whether a tag should be included or not is to ask the question, if I searched this tag, so if I put that tag if I search for this keyword on YouTube and this video is served, will I be satisfied? So, you know, if I make a chocolate brownie recipe and I put Trump as one of the tags, if I search for Trump and this chocolate brownie recipe comes up, will I be satisfied?
Right.
If I can't answer yes to that question, don't put the tag in there.
Yeah.
If someone does find your video by that tag and they're not happy, they're going to click off, and that's going to hurt your audience retention.
That is such a great point, Tom Martin, is that when you try to keyword stuff and tag stuff, you're going to get unqualified views. And unqualified views is like bringing a cannonball onto your ship. The more of those that are on your ship, the faster you're going to sink. And you're going to get to a point where you just can't reach the light of day again. So keep that in mind. When we're optimizing for tags, can you put in all these tags at once, or do you really need to put these tags in like hyper relevant tags first, let the video get out there for 3 weeks, and then come back and add some categorical tags? Or are you saying add all the tags at once and launch the video?
Yeah, I would have everything that you plan to have in there before it goes live. I'm not saying that you can't make tweaks later, but it's going to be a lot less effective if you do it later. One thing, the only kind of caveat to that is, if you've got a video that, let's say it's about, I don't know, let's say it's about a famous celebrity. Let's say it's about
PewDiePie.
Yeah, let's say it's about PewDiePie. And then all of a sudden, something happens in the news, which we won't talk about. And then can you now go back to that video that you made a year ago and add a tag that's now more related to the trending topic?
Right.
So don't do that if it's misleading. But if you genuinely think that an old video now is relevant to something that's trending today, then go back and try and optimize for that trend. And you know, I've seen that work as well before. But I would always try and get your video as complete as possible before it goes live. Okay,
great tips. Thumbnails. How does a thumbnail play into the optimization strategy? And what's your advice for making a better, more clickable thumbnail?
Yeah. So it's got to you know, make a promise. It's either got to pique curiosity or, you know, deliver on that. So again, like if it's a recipe, you're going to want a thumbnail which is like pure food porn. Just, you know, a beautiful chocolate brownie, a beautiful burger, a beautiful steak, whatever that may be. Or you want to have a thumbnail which is kind of just before the key moment that you're trying to sell. So if it's like kind of more shocking, you know, woman falls out of 50-story window, you want the kind of impending kind of
right before she falls kind of thing, the impending doom.
Hopefully she's all right.
Yes.
But then, you know, there's kind of basics like you want strong casting colors to attract the eye on, you know. In a lot of cases, you're going to be competing against a lot of people in a short area, in a small area. So bright colors, contrasting colors, text needs to be, if you are going to use text, it needs to be clear and readable at small sizes, because you've got to remember now, so much traffic is coming on mobile that most people need to be able to see a thumbnail at like that size.
Yeah.
So if you've got like a whole, you know, the whole script of B-movie on the thumbnail, no one's going to click on it because it just looks like a complete mess. So
I've seen it too. I've seen it with people adding logos. Not only will they restate the title on the thumbnail, but then they'll add their logo, which has 4 more words on it. And then in the background, there's a billboard that can sort of show up. There's like 7 more words on the billboard. You know what I mean? You've really got to eliminate. Plus, you know, YouTube has a bunch of overlays that they're putting on top of this. So they've got overlays in the lower right. They've got overlays, a play button that'll overlay in the middle of it, you know, so on and so forth. If it's in a playlist, you're going to have text on top and text below. So the text part needs to be really light and succinct. Would you agree, Tom Martin?
Yeah, and also I really don't understand why you would put the exact title of your video on the thumbnail, because it's almost never going to be shown in isolation without the title right next to it. So if you are going to use text, I would say use text that complements the title. So if it is like the woman who's about to fall out of the window, on the text on the thumbnail, you might say something like, "Did she survive?" Or
Cool.
"You won't believe this." Again, not great examples, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. So
Yeah.
you're trying to tease, but you've got two offers instead of one. But just repeating the title, to me, doesn't really make much sense, especially when you're talking about mobile.
Tom Martin, you are absolutely an expert in this field. Now, you've just written a book. You're calling it The New YouTube Bible. Tell us a little bit about this book and how we can get it.
Yeah, so this is something that I've been working on literally for years. So I've basically taken all of the articles and videos that I've made over the years and all of the experiences I've had for the last 5 years and distilled all of those strategies into one quite short book, but it's all actionable tips. So it's not just theory, it's literally click this button, or here are 7 title types that work, kind of the stuff that we spoke about earlier, so the verses and the lists. There's guides to thumbnails, tags, descriptions, playlists, stuff that we haven't even touched on yet that's really important: optimizing for watch time, optimizing for session time, optimizing for mobile views, international views. Yeah, it's pretty complete, it's pretty intense, but I think people will really get a lot out of it. It's more like a workbook than a theory book.
So how do we get it? I'm like dying here.
It's available currently only as a Kindle version, so you can get that from optimizationebook.com, and that will take you to your local Amazon store. You can spell it the UK English way or the US English way, because I'm diligent like that. And it is also available on iBooks if you hate Amazon.
And that is in one more?
Very cheap for the next few days while it's brand new.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw it for just a couple dollars. So, I believe the price range is still around there. And, one of the best books I've ever bought was a Bruce Clay book, and it was about SEO, web page optimization. This book absolutely changed the way I was doing business, and even I loved it so much I reached out to Bruce Clay, became good friends with their organization on Twitter. Guys, go get Tom's book. This new model of book writing, where you're just kind of telling everybody everything, and giving them a workbook to go through, is so much, I think, more proficient or more efficient than the traditional, here's a story, here's some training wrapped in a story, which is great. But I've already seen a couple pages of Tom's book. Everyone needs to go get it. So go to optimizationebook.com and check it out. We'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. So once you get it, come back to this video and let us know what your thoughts. Tom, in the meantime, how do we stay in touch with you?
You can find me, probably the best place is my website, which is FAQTube.tv, or I'm at FAQTube on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, of course.
Follow Tom Martin. You're absolutely going to love his content, as I do, as my colleagues do. Thank you, Tom, so much for being on the show today.
Absolute pleasure.
Hey, and that's going to do it for our show today, guys. So good to see you on the Business of Video podcast, and I hope that you enjoyed this really fantastic interview with my good friend, my colleague, Tom Martin, FAQTube. Melissa, did you learn anything new? Still on mute there. I'm sure she learned a ton of stuff, but she is on mute. So, guys, thank you so much for being here today, and we can't wait to see you next time on the Business of Video podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Business of Video podcast. If you like the show, give us a review on iTunes or share this episode on social media now. Join us next time on Facebook Live. Just visit businessofvideopodcast.com and subscribe to the newsletter updates. This podcast is brought to you by Tuber Tools and biztubeacademy.com.
See you guys next time. Writing YouTube titles is pivotal for success on YouTube. But how do you write the right titles? Today, we're going to answer that question with YouTube optimization expert Tom Martin. So stay tuned. It's the Business of Video podcast.
You're listening to the Business of Video podcast, where the world's top YouTubers and marketers talk about what's working with online video. This podcast is recorded